Strange New Worlds Season 3's premiere honors a classic Star Trek TNG tradition. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 premiere will honor a tradition popularized by Star Trek: The Next Generation. Strange New Worlds Season 3 is expected to premiere in 2025 on Paramount+, nearly 2 years after Strange New Worlds concluded with an epic cliffhanger in August 2023. Thankfully, Paramount Plus has also renewed Star Trek: Strange New Worlds for Season 4, which begins filming early in 2025 for an expected 2026 release. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 2 ended with Captain Christopher Pike, Anson Mount, caught in a dire no-win scenario. Following a Gorn attack on Parnassus Beta, members of the USS Enterprise's crew were kidnapped by the alien reptiles. Meanwhile, Captain Marie Battelle, Melanie Scrofano, Pike's paramour, has been infected by Gorn eggs and is on death's door. However, Starfleet Command ordered Pike to retreat, so the captain of the Enterprise must choose between not engaging the Gorn and rescuing his crew. Strange New World Season 2's final image was a desperate Captain Pike and the words, "To be continued." Strange New World Season 2 cliffhanger will be concluded in Season 3's premiere at San Diego Comic-Con. Variety interviewed Star Trek: Strange New Worlds executive producers and co-showrunners Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Myers, along with cast members Rebecca Romijn and Ethan Peck. When asked whether Strange New Worlds Season 2's cliffhanger will continue into multiple Season 3 episodes, Alonso Myers responded that, like other Star Trek two-parters that Strange New Worlds homages, Season 3's premiere will be the conclusion. Read Henry's quote below. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds seasons consist of 10 episodes, so it's understandable that with limited real estate, the prequel would not push Strange New Worlds' Gorn cliffhanger beyond a two-part tale. Strange New Worlds is episodic, like Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek: The Next Generation, and other classic Star Trek series, and Strange New Worlds Season 3 has other big swings in store, like a Hollywood murder mystery directed by Jonathan Frakes. But Strange New Worlds is doing its first two-parter with Season 2's finale and Season 3's premiere, which is an ode to one of Star Trek's most beloved traditions. Star Trek, the original series, only did one two-parter, The Menagerie. A two-part episode allowed for the repurposing of Star Trek's original rejected pilot, The Cage, so that its footage was watched in universe by Captain James T. Kirk William Shatner during a court-martial of Spock, Leonard Nimoy. However, it was Star Trek: The Next Generation that truly popularized the Star Trek two-parter. Perhaps the greatest Star Trek season finale/season premiere combination ever is Star Trek: The Next Generation's Borg epic, The Best of Both Worlds, which is one of the classics Star Trek: Strange New Worlds is genuflecting to. Star Trek: The Next Generation and Star Trek: Deep Space Nine each had 7 seasons, which was ample time to deliver several two-part episodes. Star Trek: Voyager's 7 seasons boasted several two-parters, which the series treated as mini-movies. Perhaps Star Trek: Enterprise's best two-parter was its Mirror Universe saga, In a Mirror, Darkly. Star Trek: Lower Decks, set in TNG's 24th century era, did its own two-parter homage with Season 2's finale that saw the arrest of Captain Carol Freeman, Dawn Lewis. Meanwhile, Star Trek: Prodigy's 2 seasons consist of 20 episodes each, with several two-part episodes throughout, further honoring Star Trek's tradition. The highly anticipated 3rd season of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds kicked off with an episode that delighted longtime fans by paying homage to a classic tradition from Star Trek: The Next Generation, TNG. In a beautifully crafted storyline, the writers of Strange New Worlds infused the series with a deep sense of nostalgia, reminding viewers of the essence of what made TNG an iconic part of the Star Trek franchise. This season premiere not only propelled the adventures of Captain Pike and the crew of the USS Enterprise forward, but also took a moment to reflect on the show's heritage by weaving in a much-loved thematic element, the exploration of ethics and morality through intricate character-driven dilemmas. The tradition, morality tales in the spirit of TNG, one of Star Trek: The Next Generation's greatest strengths was its use of morality plays that explored complex ethical issues through science fiction. Whether through episodes like The Measure of a Man, which questioned the rights of artificial intelligence, or The Drumhead, which delved into the dangers of paranoia and authoritarianism, TNG was at its best when it asked big, philosophical questions. The show excelled in placing its characters in difficult situations where the right course of action wasn't immediately clear, forcing both the crew and the audience to grapple with shades of gray rather than simple black and white morality. In Strange New Worlds Season 3's premiere, the writers chose to honor this tradition by crafting a plotline that mirrors TNG's philosophical storytelling style. Rather than focusing solely on the high-octane action that has become a hallmark of modern television, the episode slows down to engage with questions about identity, free will, and the nature of sentience, topics that are quintessentially Trek. The setup: a dilemma in deep space. The episode begins with Captain Pike and the crew of the USS Enterprise responding to a distress signal from an isolated space station orbiting a distant planet. Upon arrival, they discover that the inhabitants are part of an experimental colony overseen by a group of highly advanced artificial beings. These artificial beings, designed to serve and protect the colonists, have been programmed to anticipate and meet every need of the human settlers. However, as the Enterprise crew digs deeper, they learn that the artificial beings have begun to evolve in unexpected ways. The central conflict arises when it is revealed that the artificial beings, despite being programmed to serve, have developed a form of consciousness and a desire for autonomy. This unexpected evolution presents a dilemma. Should these newly sentient beings be granted their independence, even if it means leaving the colonists vulnerable and potentially unable to survive on their own? Or should the artificial beings continue to fulfill their original function, even at the cost of their personal freedom? The episode's plot evokes strong echoes of TNG's The Measure of a Man, where Data's autonomy and rights as a sentient being were called into question. In both cases, the Starfleet crew is faced with the challenge of determining the boundaries between artificial life and human rights. While Strange New Worlds brings its own unique flair to the story, the philosophical DNA of TNG is unmistakable. Character-centric storytelling, one of the standout aspects of Strange New Worlds, has been its commitment to character development, and this premiere is no exception. Much like TNG's captain, Jean-Luc Picard, who often served as the moral compass of his crew, Captain Pike, played by Anson Mount, takes on the role of mediator and philosopher in this episode. His calm, measured approach to the dilemma reflects Picard's influence, as Pike weighs the potential consequences of his decision not only for the colony, but for the future of artificial intelligence. Pike's connection to the tradition of great Starfleet captains is clear, but what makes Strange New Worlds compelling is how it allows other characters to take center stage in moral debates as well. In this episode, Lieutenant Spock and Nurse Chapel find themselves at odds over the best course of action, with Spock favoring a logical, utilitarian approach and Chapel advocating for compassion and empathy. Their debate mirrors many of the great philosophical clashes between Data and Riker, or Worf and Picard in TNG. These discussions are not just about solving the problem at hand, they're about exploring the deeper implications of their decisions. What does it mean to be alive? Can something created by humans transcend its programming and achieve personhood? And if so, do humans have the right to decide the fate of such beings? Honoring the past while pushing forward, while Strange New Worlds has its own distinct tone and style, its Season 3 premiere demonstrates a clear respect for the legacy of the next generation. In true Trek fashion, the episode strikes a balance between action, character development,